Hi everyone, today I'm going to teach you how to make this super cute hat. There's no sewing involved, so it's super easy for beginners. As long as you kind of know the basics of crochet, this should be a pretty fast and simple project, and it turns out super cute. So let's go ahead and get started. So you're going to start with your first color, and you're going to make a little slip knot, and then make a chain that's around 22 inches long. And for me, that's around 75 stitches, and I like to make them a little looser just because like this is the base row, and I find that sometimes your work can scrunch up if you don't do this row a little looser than the rest of the rows. Okay, so this is 75 chains, and I kind of wrapped around my head just to make sure that it kind of fits. And now what we're going to do, you're going to straighten your chain so that these little loops are all facing upwards. Just untwist it. Then you're going to pull the other end back to where you are. And on this, we have 2 loops in our first stitch. So this right here is our first stitch we did. And you're going to go into that top loop. And you're going to pull the yarn through that loop and then through the other loop that was on your hook. And then you can chain 3, put a double crochet in that stitch, and then a double crochet in the top loop of every stitch after this. So this is the top loop. And yeah, you'll have a total of 75 double crochets, or however many chains you put there. And yeah, go all the way around. And if you're kind of more intermediate or advanced at crochet, what we're gonna do, we're gonna do 2 rows of each color, and you're gonna go into the first, when you finish the row, you're gonna go into the first double crochet. And so we'll do interchanging of 2 rows with your other color for a total of 16 rows. But if you want it a bit longer, you can do 18. But if you want to go a little slower, I will walk you through how to do it a little more carefully. But yeah, so you're just gonna finish this row again, going into each of those top loops until you get all the way back to the beginning, and I'll show you how we connect it. Okay, so I finished this row. Just to clarify, our last stitch is going to be in there. I put my stitch in there, and to end, this is our chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. We're gonna go into the very first double crochet in there, and just pull through, and then we'll do another chain 3, double crochet in that same stitch, and you're going to do the same thing where you just go all the way, and remember this time you're going through both those loops with your double crochets. And you're just going to continue this pattern all the way around, and you'll switch colors every 2 rows. And I'll show you how to switch colors. It's pretty easy. But yeah, this is basically all you're going to do for 16 or 18 rows if you want it to be a little longer. Okay, so I finished the second row, and we're going to go in to that first double crochet with a slip stitch, and now we're going to go ahead and change colors. So you're just going to kind of leave it with that little loop. Don't do anything further than that. And you're going to just cut the green yarn. Doesn't have to be too long. That's good. And then grab your second color. And you're just going to take the end of that yarn, grab it with your hook, and pull it through that dark green loop. And now we're going to tie it together. So grab that dark green tail, pull it a bit to tighten it, and just tie it together with that green one. And I prefer to do 2 knots just to make sure it's really secure. And that's how we do a color change. So now we're going to continue with the light green for 2 rows. So I'm going to do a chain 3 and just do as we normally do. But this time I'm just going to make sure that these little loose ends are just kind of like under. So let me show you what I mean. Just to make sure that they're like weaved in, so we don't have to weave them all in later. Because I think weaving stuff in is kind of like very mundane. So it's easier to just like tuck them in there now, you know? So like if you look at it, right, they're just kind of trapped under those stitches. And yeah, you're just gonna keep doing this. So 2 rows dark green, 2 rows light green, or whatever colors you're using, for a total of 16 rows, or 18 if you want it a little longer. Okay, so I ended up doing 18 rows. I feel like it'll just look a little fuller, because also we're gonna fold up like the bottom edge when we wear the hat, so it'll be like a little shorter. But I think this is a good length. So it looks like it's like around like 7 inches. I folded up 4 rows at the bottom. So if you have something like that, it should be good. And to like put the top together, we're gonna be doing like slip stitches in the top. So let me just go ahead and end this row. And what you're gonna do your little slip stitch and then go into the next stitch and then go behind into that second row and find the stitch that kind of corresponds to it. I'm gonna put it in this stitch. You're gonna pull through with a little slip stitch. And you're gonna do this all the way down. So you're just gonna do 1 stitch to 1 stitch. And it should come out pretty even. And as you keep going, they'll kind of just like line themselves up, which makes it pretty easy. And once you finish doing this, you know, tying it off and stuff, you'll be done. And I'll show you how to tie it off. I guess the only other thing you would need to do is to weave in this end from where we started. But yeah, just go ahead and finish that up, and you can see that it's pretty secure. Okay, so I got to the very end of this row, and there's like 1 more stitch left over, but like it's fine. And what you're gonna do, you're just going to pull the yarn through, grab some scissors and cut it. And then I like to make sure it's secure, so I just like to tie another little extra knot at the end to really make sure it won't fall apart. And you're just gonna bring this string into the inside of the hat. So I'm just gonna stick my hook in, pull it in. And yeah, so now your hat is done. So it's very simple, right? No sewing or anything. Yeah,